Well, we're back.
Hello,
Me
Mike.
and Crash.
Hi.
Well, you know what? I keep telling you each and every one of these podcasts are important. Everything's coming to us. All of what we told you is coming into fruition. And I'm going to talk to you briefly about our last podcast, but not right here. Right now, I want you to read this. This was Musk and Flynn. All of what you're seeing, everything that's twisting in the air, Elon Musk, MK Ultra, Flynn, how about MK Ultra for life? These are the assholes you're listening to. What is MK Ultra? It's the art of mind control, controlling your minds. You're not seeing, you're not confused what happened. Is there any assassination attempt that you're certain of or confused over? That is what they put you in, a state of confusion. What I'm trying to do and what I've done for 20 years was show you proof and evidence and ask you to use your common sense. Each one of these podcasts was breaking it down common sense. Our last podcast, well, let me just hit you with it now then. Our last podcast was a simple truth. Flynn ran the brokered convention. Those people worked for Flynn. Burke, Harris, and you can Google all those assholes and you see they were, including Tuckeroni. They were taking Trump out. How does Flynn support Trump if those are a fact? And it's proven that it is. It's a simple fucking truth or a brick in the foundation of showing you the truth as they're selling you MK Ultra and follow the yellow brick fucking road. And you do. And then the second part of that in our last podcast was the players in the insurrection, which in a second is going to take us to Tina Peters and why they're all shitting themselves. But whatever Tina Peters is, that meeting in Arizona is even more important and dangerous to them. Then you take my evidence from December 18th, 2020, and the same fucking Flynn team. And all those communications, phone calls, emails, and text messages, people, they call that evidence. Which from that point on, they tried to intercept me. But let's just take one detour for a second. Let's do that. The next one, Crash. With Musk and the Pandora Papers, that's what they're explaining. Oh, let me see if I read this to you here. Because when I sit in fucking solitary confinement, I'm losing my hair, my teeth, and my hearing. All right, well, let's take a look at this. We were robbed. And I'm betting a ton of money of our money was laundered back into politicians' pockets. Hello, that's Pandora's box, people. What did I tell you? The Pandora's Papers and the 935 billion, and Crash was sitting there. Don't say million, say billion, and I did. Billion, almost a trillion, was sent back in New Hampshire into the Pandora's box. The architect, Bill Shaheen, the husband of Senator Shaheen. The money goes back into what? LLCs, trusts, cleaned in casinos, and gets funneled back to those same fucking politicians. That is the explanation of what I've been telling you for 12 fucking years. I caught the system. I outed the system, leveraged the Department of Justice with it. There's no doubt about it. Flynn reached out to me and the DOJ told him to because what I had could incriminate the Senate and the Congress. That's what that is right there. You see, you just got to wait long enough. That's the problem with insight. I got to wait for all you assholes to catch up. This time it only took 13 years, and you ain't there yet. So don't get cocky. Well, let's see what else is. I'm convinced Almost all of the 38 trillion of the national debt is due to that fraud. Bingo. That's exactly what it is. Which is why the word affordability. Let me hit you with this. Nothing will be affordable. Do you know your homes? Do you know we had the worst quarter in American history of delisting homes? What that means is they gave up selling them. And then you have Powell say, I'm going to cut the interest rates. Did you notice they went up? All these cuts didn't mean shit. Why? Because you're broke. You're a bad credit risk. Do you remember what I was? I measured the credit risk. I built the largest brokerage firm by seeing into the future. And the future is, you ready? You're fucked. That's what's happening. Now think about this. From fraudulent wars. Oh, remember I told you the Ukraine? In 2019, look at the videos I did. I said, a fucking Ukrainian tried to murder my ass. What did I find in those LLCs? The pipelines to Ukraine. Perspective Trust, who was run by Glenn Perlow, who was the assistant to Ayotte, who's now the governor at the AG's office, covering up the Pandora's box. Perspective Trust, oh, I don't know. Did you know they were in the fucking Pandora Papers? And the money was going into the Ukraine. Well, let's see what else it said. Benefits from illegals, fraudulent wars, and AIDS. You remember the new green bill? That's how they get paid. All the bullshit. The green bill all went away. And no one's saying a fucking thing. But they took your trillions. Do you know that fucking Sununu? You know what he bought? Copper mines. Copper mines in Colombia. No shit. Look it up. Okay. So in other words, there's affordability. And Trump, I mean, is this a goddamn, I'm sorry. Is this a magic act? Trump's on the campaign, in Pennsylvania going, how do you grade your work on the economy? A plus,
A
plus,
plus
plus,
plus
plus.
plus. Yeah.
Are you nuts? You've been to the grocery store and you know this big, beautiful bill with tax cuts to billionaires. How are you doing? Maybe you could have got a tax cut. You know these tariffs he put in? Would you say, Crash, they took in what? 37 trillion?
I no 20 some. I have to look it up. Don't quote me. 21
They
trillion,
took in
maybe.
20 plus trillions.
Yeah.
Yet our debt went from 37 to 38 trillion. The fastest time in history, you took it in, you lost another trill.
Right. So where is it?
That seems to be a rational question. Why don't we ask the Senate and the Congress, who Musk didn't audit and investigate? Okay, but that's affordability. That's destroying your housing. That's what making American people can't feed their families. And they're lying to you. This is like a magic act. I just saw a commercial about 20 minutes ago. Trump's selling watches. I mean, this is the biggest grifter in history.
They're pushing those watches hard too.
Get them as a Christmas present.
Right.
Tell time when it's time to eat and you can't feed your family. Okay, hit it, Crash. So now we're going to I had to bring you to that point because affordability is important. Now, remember the simple truth with the brokered convention and the confessions of Shelby Bush and Harris. Okay, remember Burke, 98% CIA. They mentioned Vandersteel CIA by name. Now, Tina Peters. Now, I believe we're going to fit this somehow into the title. That's what Crash does. Tina Peters, mark my words, write it down. In 20 years, tell me where I've been wrong. And listen, I'm not a mind reader. It's math. It's absolutes. Peters will get out of jail because she's not doing 9 years for them. So the only question is, When she goes out, who goes in? Now, what I might tell you is a clue: who's shitting themselves. Okay? That's a clue on who's going in and why. So don't worry about Tina Peters. She's in the catbird seat. Now, if Peters gives you Flynn and Patrick Burns and Lynn Wood,
Lindell.
Lindell, Vandersteel, oh, and Mary fucking Fanning, that piece of shit, who was the architect now, who we all gave you, which all of them, each one of them came to me and tried to silence me. Tina Peters came to me too, and she asked me for my help. She was part of those phone calls with Juan 07, Saban. And from now on, he's Wayne Willett. He's not Mickey Mouse. He's not JFK Jr. I'm not giving this pinhead playing the game. He's Wayne Willett, the fucking insurance investigator scumbag who's around the country as a fucking bagman. Now,
on our dime.
How I met Tina Peters was, and I have those texts also, but I promise, Crash, we'll keep it simple. But connects us together with Peters and myself on those meetings with Wayne Willett. And then she asked to meet me or to speak to me privately. And if you read this, Mike, Tina Peters here, are you available this evening to come in on my show? I want to get you out ASAP. Now think about this. On that show, I'm slamming the on her show. I slammed the shit out of Flynn. On one thing, I'm slamming the shit out of Flynn. Why did they have me on? Because they needed me that bad to flip. That's how important I was to them. How dangerous was. Did you get my text? Question mark. I'm sorry, I just saw it. You can tell me when and I'll be there. I'm sorry, I just saw it. My apologies. I promise whatever you want. Monday, 10. Now, why that was important? Tina Peters realized that she was in trouble. I was telling her, you know what? She's going to be an scapegoat. Remember? Let's take you back to that brokered convention and the insurrection with Stacy Byrne. What was the conversation? Burke was afraid she was going to be an scapegoat. And I asked her that directly. You know what she said? 100%.
Stacy, not Stacy Burke.
Shelby Bush.
Shelby.
Thank you. Bush. Scapegoat. That's what Fanning was too. Scapegoat. They're all guilty. They're afraid they're going to point the fingers. Tina Peters is guilty. And she was working for Flynn. And listen, I had those conversations with her. I warned her what happened. The fact that she's in jail, she'll tell you when she's released. That's exactly what I told her and warned her of. Exactly. Fanning's a scumbag, and that's why she gave me Brummel, who ties Flynn into child trafficking. She plays it a little filthier. And again, that's CIA. That's the sale of Dominion. And that's the architect. You're going to hear CIA quite a bit around here. That 98%, we got to find the 2% unless they cut me and Crash as 1 and 2. Okay, hit it. So understand this now. That was the concern. Now, Burke takes you back to the insurrection. She worked with Flynn and Powell and Ketchel directly, her words. And then when I turned around and gave her the information that came in, that brokered convention and the insurrection, and she was part of the conversation, that one of the topics of the conversation with Harris and Bush regarding her involvement. Now, she sat and recorded me without telling me, sat on for over a year, played it like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it's all full of shit. She was a witness in the J6 committee. That is Jack Smith. She is going to be used as a witness, as is Tina Peters. The minute she is, she'll be released. And then all of a sudden, Flynn will be the target, and these pinheads are the target. Stacy Burke's a witness. Peters is a witness, and I'm a witness to all of them. I never broke. I was never on their side. I told you who they were in each and every time. Now, with Burke, I made a point because when I was there in Arizona, Maricopa County, at a Charlie Kirk event, a rally for Trump, the name Flynn and O'Keefe came up more than Trump. And I turned around and said to her about Flynn. And then she turned around and said, well, I don't know Flynn. I'm not impressed by Flynn. Let me get that for you.
No, you mean O'Keefe, right? Not Flynn.
Well, you keep catching me. You're right. O'Keefe. She didn't know O'Keefe. But why I kept bringing up O'Keefe is because then I kept hearing him again, because I knew O'Keefe was Mossad. I knew Flynn was CIA, working with the CIA. Okay? So all of a sudden, I'm clearing certain images to make room, and I find this repost from McMahon. And it goes with Stacy Burke's post that's saying, the spycraft training provided to Project Veritas operate was far more advanced than the typical undercover journalism. Remember, I'm not impressed by him. Oh, really? Goldman reported that the operatives were trained by Richard Selden, a former MI6 officer. What do we got? Now we got the British intelligence in this shit too? This is the DOJ working with foreign governments, British intelligence, Mossad, sending the CIA, our own government. Oh, and the ranch he worked at was owned by Blackwater founder Eric Prince. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you, she openly lied about that. Because the DOJ, remember I said this is a surgical hit. The surgical hit, they don't want to give you MI6. They don't want to give you the Mossad. They're going to give you Flynn and his ties with the CIA. So the question being now, when Flynn turns around and says, Trump made me do it, remember that word contagion? How many of these Vandersteels are affected? Fanny's awful scared. Lindell's scared. Lynn Wood.
Yeah.
Why Lynn Wood attacks Tina Peters. She's not a Gold Star mudder. Mudder? I was in horse racing. When a horse can run in the mud, they call him a mudder. They turn, and it's also a missing tooth. But my point being is, those are the people who are going to replace Tina Peters. Those are the ones Stacy Burke's going to call out, and I get them all, which is why I know them all. They're the ones that came to me. Now, is this where we come up with Patrick Byrne's?
We come up with, you said you wanted to
right.
add O'Keefe in there.
Right. Now, this was in 2016 when I was trying to tell you and doing State of Corruption, where I was telling you who O'Keefe was. O'Keefe gave up with Aaron Day. All my witnesses, endangered over 100, made a deal with the cartel, made a deal with Sununu, who Sununu then became governor. That's what the case that I lost. They didn't allow any witnesses or evidence. They couldn't have you hear anything. But what did I tell you? That O'Keefe was Mossad. What did they do? They sent the Mossad with O'Keefe. And then after that, on December 18th, who'd they send? The DOJ send. Flynn and the CIA. You see, we are being attacked by the intelligence, but you have to understand they all answer to the DOJ. Now, someone commented and said, why are they after Trump then? Why Trump? Because Trump's contagious, pinheads. Trump is connected to the insurrection with Flynn. Flynn's going to say Trump. But Trump is connected because the insurrection was the DOJ's plan. It's got to be Trump's idea. Pandora's box. We find out that Trump's in the Pandora's box with the Taj Mahal, Cantor Gaming. That's Penn National. So remember, that 38 trillion they stole from you, they have to wash, clean it, and hide it. That's what I found. That is why the DOJ wanted to pay me off. That's who's leveraging my children with the FBI, which is an extension of the DOJ. Their investigations is what the DOJ prosecutes. They answer to them. You answer to them. That's why Biden, and the magical question is who's running the country? Biden's a dumbass. So's Trump. It's the DOJ, which is why we're blowing up Iran. How's that war in Ukraine? Going away? Oh, and this asshole wants the Nobel Peace Prize, and we're blowing up boats out of Venezuela as we're releasing one of the kingpins of drug cartels, the ex-president of Honduras. And then we find out Nino's saying, hey, they're going for their oil. Maybe so. And then after that, they're going to blow up countries in Africa for their mineral rights. Who the fuck knows? We're in Venezuela, and Trump's going, hey, look at the gold pen, right? We're going after drug cartels. We're releasing them. What was my evidence proof? What did I say? The Pandora's box, what it opens up? They can't deny. The IRS, with the Inspector General on recording, those sealed envelopes, and Dick Anagos in the partnership with the Sinaloa cartel, which is why they're getting smoked. See? So in other words, they're fixing it, blaming it. Tell me this, what American cartel goes to jail? Wait a minute. They're bringing the drugs in by the Coast Guard, which I told you back in 2016 that that's what's happening. They're manufacturing it. I only got the largest fentanyl seizure in history in 2016 from the manufacturing company. Do you think they have to go to any place? No. They bring in Chinese chemists. Oh, then we got Trump saying, hey, 600,000 Chinamen can come in this country and invade our colleges. We're already fucking radical. Genius. Who's paying him off or who's blackmailing his ass? You see? That's what's happening there. Everywhere you're getting sold out. So again, it's blackmail and extortion. And again, it's Trump. And Trump's the contagion to the DOJ. Epstein and Maxwell. Oh, wait a minute. Who protected them? It's not the DOJ. Who was Acosta? Who was Bondi? The DOJ. Wait a minute. Epstein and Maxwell was Mossad? Oh, who's running the foreign intelligence? The DOJ. The same people who were paying Epstein and Maxwell is paying James O'Keefe, Bob Shulman, Lori Lomer, and Alex Jones. Now that we're on Alex Jones, let's go to see his last podcast. I mean, this is some crazy shit. But you know something? It's right by the book. You know, we have Patrick Byrne telling us he's been a CIA asset for 30 years. Jones calling it a bombshell. What? Burns, in his own words, in that interview, said that he's the worst traitor in history or he's a hero. I don't know. Which one do you think he just might be? The worst traitor in history? Did you know he was in the CIA for 30 years? Jones had a bombshell? Oh, I'd say the bombshell. They dropped it right on your ass. That's what. Now the question is, why come up saying it now?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What's your reason for that? I know what.
And listen, I got it all. You want an answer to a fucking question? These assholes are amateurs. I've been doing this for 20 years. And before that, I was a pretty wealthy guy, building successful businesses around the country and the world. Because if Tina Peters, and they ain't letting her out unless she's a witness. You see Maxwell trying to go take off too? Both of them are held in check. Sometimes it's the cost of doing business. It's free the guilty. That's the mafia, how that works. Because all of a sudden, when you go to Patrick Byrne, you were behind this. You did this insurrection. You lied to the American people. You set all these innocent people up. My bad. I was a member of the CIA. It's their fault.
Right.
There you go.
He has
You
his
see?
scapegoat.
Exactly. And Alex Jones has him on the show because Alex Jones is going to sing the same tune.
Right. He's part of it too.
Remember? Vandersteel? CIA, folks. That's what Shelby Bush said. Vandersteel, CIA. No shit. No kidding. And that's what they're going to say. The government had me. Now they're scared. That's why Burns put it out there. You know why? Because he wants to be ahead of it in case they turn around and leverage him for that silence. He wants to write his own insurance policy. What did his father work for Geico?
Yeah.
He's writing an insurance policy, folks. The CIA made me do it. Really? Does that make him innocent, by the way?
No.
And all these podcasts, CIA, that had you buying fucking gold and bullshit, and Godly Granny. Godly Granny had some guy on the other day with a 6-shooter in his holster and one in his belt selling meat. And I remember thinking to myself, they got 39,000 views and we got 3,000. What the fuck's the world coming to? Really?
Yeah.
And the last time we seen Mark Taylor was a month ago. He was picking the fights at UFC. Prophetic. They shifted. But that's what Burns is doing. That's why they're all nervous. That's why they're all scared. They know what's going to happen. She's going to get released. That's why the AG's going, she ain't going nowhere. And she is guilty. And she is. I'm telling you she is. She told me she is.
She knew she was being set up. She came to you and said, what do I do?
She was afraid. She knew if she was tried, she was going to be found guilty.
Right.
They were telling her, you're going to be fine. That's Patrick Burns, piano wire Burns, who now says CIA. Maybe if she knew he was CIA, maybe she would have thought differently. That's Wayne Willett in the phone calls. You're fine. That's Lindell. And you know what? Here's funny. Remember how Lynn Wood hit him with the Lynn Wood one, right? You know why Lynn Wood's pissing himself too? Here's the guy who had Thanksgiving dinner with the whole Flynn team before December 18th, the insurrection plot. Now he's punching up saying, hey, Lynn, with Trump. Lynn, and Crash had something to do with this investigation when we were looking through this. Lynn Wood was taking money through donations for Rittenhouse. You remember Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah.
He was representing him and took in millions. You know what they did with that money? They sent it off to Peters in Colorado. Right. They were buying her silence and all of a sudden the money for her representation. She never had a shot, but they were buying her silence. That's why Lynn Wood's pissing himself. He's connected to Peters, and why he's going, Peters is no Gold Star mother. Are you getting it? Listen, they all have one thing in common. Saving their ass, not your ass. Here, you see what we're doing here? This ain't my ass. My ass was rich and famous. This is about saving your ass. They're saving theirs. That's Byrne saying, I'm CIA. That's Burke saying, I don't know O'Keefe and the Mossad. That's why Lindell's scared. And I'm telling you right now, do you know why Flynn will take a pass? Because the DOJ and Jack Smith needs a direct contact to Trump. That's Flynn. And if you're watching Raiklan and Flynn lately, they're talking insurrection. They're getting crazy again. We've got to take over the government institutions in Washington. What's that, the FBI, CIA? How does that shit work for you? Right. It's coming in to take over the institutions. That knucklehead, listen, Trump didn't even give him a job. What is his job? You mean they didn't establish the minister of retribution? That doesn't come with a parking spot?
Can I show
He's
you?
talking.
Can I show you something that was sent to me? And I don't know how real it is, but I don't know if you saw it. I just want your input. Lynn Wood.
Okay.
This was allegedly an email to Sidney Powell. It's blurry, but it says, I have so much data for you. We're not going to need it. We just have to look like we're pursuing litigation. Ha.
Right. Listen, that, who's that guy? Judicial Watch.
Oh,
When
yeah.
all he does is he's smoking mirrors. I met with that asshole 3 times.
Well, that's
He's
what
just a
O'Keefe
fraud.
is. O'Keefe is that too.
Yes, he is.
They all are.
They all are. They just got to make you think they're doing something. Do you know what's easy to fill out a lawsuit? It's 1 page. An appeal, 1 page. You never ask, well, what happened to that?
Right.
And you don't know because they never tell you. So Wood's talking to Powell. Remember now, Powell was over for Thanksgiving dinner. Powell was on December 18th. And you know who she was talking with then? Me.
Yeah.
That's Teresa. And we found out through Elvire, Michelle going, he's CIA, and Ariel knows he's CIA. Ariel knows he's CIA because he's CIA too. I mean,
is it so hard to believe
that alphabet up our ass?
Is it so hard to believe these people had a fit when you said when we try to show this, and now does it sound out of line? I mean, it's fitting right in.
You know, the funny thing is when I started doing this in 05 and 06, 07, 10, 9, 12, 13, that's crazy. Mike Gill's crazy. Well, now, corruption doesn't seem so crazy anymore, does it? Now, we just find out they just laid out the 38 trillion that was stolen, and it looked like our politicians stole it. So the Pandora's box don't look so fucking crazy.
Right.
Then when I was telling you Penn National, they were offering me 25 million. Then we find out the Trump's in it and partners with Penn National. And there was just a video documentary I listened to about patriarch crime family. They brought us right back to fucking New Hampshire with all the assholes I was dealing with, including Penn National, Las Vegas, and how the casinos were laundering the money, and how they were buying and putting up LLCs and shell company to hire. I mean, it was a documentary. And they ran right into my ass on all of it. So when I'm giving you Married to the Mob, they're using the same fucking names. You know why Steve Wynn resigned? That's why. Because the mob and the cartels are a partnership. It's the same judges, it's the same casinos, it's the same system of cleaning. You're going to hear more and more sports betting being fixed. I gave you fixed sports betting.
Right.
And now you're going to hear how about some American League pitcher just got busted. Oh, the poker games and the fixed players in the NBA. That's nothing. They're petrified of you finding out the depth of all this. And then you're going to find out, right? The value of the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, all the sports team don't equal to the 935 billion that went into the state of New Hampshire, with 84 schmucks in the whole fucking state, the whitest state in the country. Past the middle of the state, there's only squirrels, which if you put the money per person, that makes everybody in the state a multimillionaire. Didn't raise any eyebrows? Really? And then the state of Maine with Penn National, and then another casino by Churchill, and that China seems to own half the fucking state. We did a podcast. I did it with D. Boomasan saying, hey, the Sinaloa cartel got replaced. That's where all these in. But we didn't take out the American cartel. That's why all these drugs coming in, they didn't tell you, ready? Where were they going? Seems to be a question. You get a ship full of drugs, a lot bigger than a rowboat, they blew up. Where was it going? How were they going to clean it? So when I gave you Planet Fitness, owned by that cartel, Anna Sinaloa cartel, distribution and money laundering. Oh, you know what? Who was the part-time CEO? Benson, the governor of New Hampshire. I mean, you know what pissed my ass? I know this for a fact. Just like we just read this thing about the 38 trillion and how your politician stole it. It's all going to be common sense. You're going to turn around and go, of course that's what happened. Just don't do it in front of me because I'm going to jail because I'll punch you in the face. 20 years of this shit. And you're going to turn around, of course. So when you find out all these assholes were CIA and I was turning them all over from Jaco to Michelle, you don't think Michelle's CIA? Shut up. And you would think she was connected to Lynn Wood. I mean, and you're all going to go, oh, that was obvious.
Yeah.
Really now? When I met you, you were talking about werewolves, aliens, saying Wayne Willett was JFK Jr. I had this Pascal who said he's the reincarnation of John Kennedy taking out a hit on me.
And Trump opened the borders for teaching us a lesson. And
right, 7-8 million people I kill. Well, he's teaching us a lesson. Do you believe that? Do you believe he was the commander in chief?
They still are pushing it.
He's got the nuclear codes. Kerry Cassidy. I mean, how many Martian bullshit was she talking about?
She's still talking about it.
Has anybody caught the Loch Ness Monster?
Or Bigfoot?
How about Bigfoot? Anybody catch Bigfoot? Listen, they got satellites to detect a pimple on your ass. But we can't catch those guys.
Now, I want to say something. I know you're probably done with.
No, listen, I can keep talking. I'm more nervous about making it longer so you can upload it.
I have computer problems, so that's why I didn't want to go crazy and make too long. But for the people who are going to ask, because I know they're out there. Okay, we have Tina Peters. I'm back on Tina Peters. We got kind of off of that. Tina Peters can incriminate Flynn. Flynn's going to say, well, you know what? Trump was pushing this. Trump can say, well, Mike Lindell had, the evidence, but that Mike Lindell hasn't shown evidence. Flynn, he pled the fifth, because he didn't have evidence.
They don't have evidence. That's the crux.
So when it comes down to Trump, Trump's going to be the only one that's still pushing this because they are clear. Because they said,
which is why Trump is doing that, but all of a sudden the insurrection. Flynn's going to go Trump,
right?
And you know what? What did Lindell say? I was triggered,
right,
by Flynn.
And Lynn Wood, he hasn't promoted, fix 2020 for like a year, for like 2 years now. I don't know how long. So they're all like trying to get away from the election stuff, or have gotten away, and Trump is still on it. So that's how Trump
knows where they're going.
Right.
He's not as smart as you people think he is. When I met Trump first was in 2015, by the way. And if you go back to my podcast back then, videos on state of corruption, you'll know that's true. That was Lewandowski.
Yeah.
His campaign manager was a scumbag. I went to his rally, and I'm running for governor at the time. There's one black guy in the audience, like row 4, 5, with a couple thousand people. He gets off the stage, walks down the aisle, and shakes his hand. I go, how obvious is that? Then, I'm not done yet. He goes, I'm the most militaristic person in this room. Knowing half the people in the room had a coonskin cap on. We're talking about upstate New Hampshire. I mean, they're hunting squirrels. I'm going, that's some pretty obvious shit. Then he starts off with this going, you know what my favorite book is? I'll bet you'll think it's The Art of the Deal. It's the Bible. I'm going, I swear to God, right? My son's to the left of me, and a state rep is on my right. And I said, Trump's awful lucky he's not debating me. I'd have peeled his ass like a grape. Now, if you see the confrontation with me and Sununu a few times, for instance, doing the laundry, He didn't say a word. You know why? They know not to debate me. I'm the one who made hundreds and hundreds of millions. Honestly, these assholes didn't want to debate me. That's why I'm running for governor. I had a plan, which is why they tried to fucking murder my ass.
Right.
You murder the guy with a plan. Why do you think they all tried to buy me? They knew I was dangerous before I knew, because I didn't know the crux of the problem. This problem became more apparent as the years peeled off, and the depth of this evil and corruption became more apparent. I never stopped and I kept digging. I dug right to fucking hell. I mean, the next guy I'm doing business fighting is fucking Satan. And if you don't think this shit's satanic, what are we talking? Drugs? And these cartels own treatment centers? They own Sununu Youth Detention Center? 1,300 children being beaten and raped? Protected by the AG's office, who is Kelly Ayotte, who's now your governor. How fucked up is that? The same people protecting the cartels. That's the depth of this evil. So when you're looking around, go, why are we so fucked? I don't know. MK Ultra,
Yeah.
forever, and Musk. You take out Trump. Who did Musk tell us that Trump was in the Epstein files? Who's JD Vance? Musk's bitch and Keel's bitch. The oligarchs, the ones who got tax breaks, who's doing business with the government, as you can't buy Hamburg. You see a problem? And think about this. What are they buying? In war, what do you cut off first?
Communications.
Bing. Twitter, Musk. What did Keel just buy? Isn't he involved in the TikTok? How about Rumble? What we're going to put on this? Did you know? Because I didn't know. But I often wondered, I go, how does Rumble give a platform for all these thieves and crooks and liars and con artists? Oh, I know. They're partners with Trump Media Group. It's one nightmare. And listen, CNN and Fox and so are they better? Real simple. Ready? If the position of what you're hearing comes from a political position, they're lying.
Right.
The truth isn't Republicans and Democrats. I mean, the same people, the Democrats calling out Trump, which is true, lied about Biden. They protected Biden. So, in other words, if you come from listen, I ran for governor as independent from all the bullshit. I didn't say audit Republicans and not Democrats. You audit everybody and investigate everybody. When they told you Republicans and Democrats, white hats and black hats, it was you. It was us against them. That's the position. That's the battle. Right there. And here's the beauty. There's more of us than them. And don't ever think that they don't realize this. So when all of a sudden you've got AI, you plug it into the IRS, who immediately audits the piss out of you, control. Move to digital currency, control. You can't afford housing, control. How's that? You're losing control. You're worried about socialism, communism? They're taking you there. That's why you're having that with Montgomery and so forth. And they just lost another congressional race there because people have no other means to surviving. When they're cutting programs and you know what, the Social Security, the matching funds in family court, do you know they take the money out of Social Security? So when you get older and get broke and you need that money to live on, and they're going to tell you, well, we're all out of it. Because you gave it to fucking drug cartels. You gave it to the Sununu Youth Detention Center that was raping our children. And listen, I'm not speculating. I had all the son of a bitches. I had witnesses. I had evidence. What if I told you there's a hidden graveyard on those grounds? You don't think all those children survived, do you? That's the dark truth of all this. And you slept through it all, and I'm getting fucking older and sicker. And I don't see anybody behind me telling you the truth, just me and Crash here and now. And if something happens to me, I don't want Crash doing any of this. And we've heard that conversation because I know who we're fighting. And the only reason why I'm still here, they don't want me to become a martyr. They turn around and go, Jesus, if something happens to him, could we trip something off here? And I left the trail and I ain't afraid of dying. I mean, this is how I fight. Become a world fucking champion. I lay it on the line. Know what I did? I did that to fuck them when I was dead. That's how I play. I'm fighting even when I'm gone. When I tell Crash we only have, who knows how few people who actually see this that ain't working for them. Listen, when we shopped out these moles out, we're wrong about one. They turned around. There's this location. He's a bad guy. We're going to start this podcast. Hello? Those were our closest allies? Really? You don't think they turn around and watch this account? I haven't had my Twitter move in what, 2, 3 fucking years.
Yeah, me neither.
So, I mean, I understand what they're doing. They need to hear what I'm doing. What do you think Michelle Moore was? They gave me a platform. I was hurting them, but she goes, but you know where he is. You know who he's talking to. He trusts you. And you know what? That's the mistake I made. Listen, when you need something so badly and it suddenly shows up, be careful. I needed a platform. She gave me a platform. They needed who I was talking to. Right after that brokered convention, the CIA came to see me. That was Lockwood too. Michelle gave him, when I said I talked to Michelle about certain things in horse racing, she told him. That's why these guys aren't as bright as you think they are. Because you know what? If they were, they would have made money honestly. You get the crooks and the thieves, and because they lack a little something. Hey, do you have time for the Seabiscuit story?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, we have time. I just hope it posts. That's all.
All right.
Go
I'll
ahead.
be brief. You know, I'm thinking about finishing each podcast with a little story, which I
Okay.
also want my children to hear too.
Yeah.
So I have a couple loaded.
Okay.
But this one here, a few days ago, I watched the movie Seabiscuit. I don't know how many of you have seen it or know about it, but it was close to me because even the real writer of Seabiscuit in the movie was a guy named Tim Frazier who was writing for me at Penn National, by the way. And then the movie was centered on Saratoga, which I broke the record at Saratoga, had won the meet at Saratoga that year, became the world champion that year, and they also based it at Pimlico. That was where the match race was. So it was involved with me. And when I watched the movie again, it hit me differently. I seen the picture of Saratoga. It was in the morning, in the mist, and there was Saratoga. And I go, I won the meet then. But I never considered it as a big deal. Because once you're playing the game, you win the game by not being too impressed by the game. When I went to Pimlico, I won the meet, 13 straight meets. And on Preakness Day and the day before, I won 6 races, multiple state, Miss Priestnick State, the Breeders' Cup race. But I didn't have a true appreciation for it all. And then became the world champion that year again. And I was being compared to Seabiscuit. And we had to shoot this work, meaning Seabiscuit was racing at Suffolk Downs for 3,500. I was a simple owner at Suffolk Downs, this low-level track, and was broke and didn't have any money, became world famous. It's the same as Seabiscuit. So the analogy that during the World Championship was Gill and Seabiscuit. And you know who brought me and talked to me about the story? Mrs. Tweedy, the owner of fucking Secretariat, who had the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I never appreciated it until I sat watching that show and I go, here you are rationing food, which, by the way, I can use a little help, not a lot of help, but the affordability has hit Big Daddy too. But, but I was watching this and going, I wish I took the time to appreciate then what I accomplished. It was always business. It was always the next hill, the next horizon, which maybe that's how you become successful. But as I sat there watching this, it all touched me in a way that you've got to appreciate the time. So this is the other thing that hit me. You've got to appreciate what we're doing here now. We're trying to change the direction of this country. There's a real chance that I become a major player in that. So I have to take appreciation, even in all these dark moments, because I live in an isolation like I was in jail in a, what do you call that? Isolation. But what are we doing to accomplish? I've got to appreciate and find the strength in what we're doing here. Because I didn't appreciate then. Well, whatever this is, I'm going to appreciate that we are making a difference, that we are in line. Listen, Peters hits, I hit. Burke hits with that convention, they got to come to me. They're going to use Flynn, they got to come. And you know what? That's why all of a sudden my children are popping up again. I see that, you assholes. But that's not changing my direction. I understand what's on the table and what this means. And I have an appreciation of where I am and what I'm doing right now. Okay, Crash.
All right, Mike. Thank you.
Okay.
Good story.